Hey, y'all. Welcome to this episode of the Meaningful Work Podcast, a time where I hold the space for you to go after all you need to live a life full of meaning and fulfillment. Now, listen, y'all caught me at the beginning of this episode. Those of you that are here on YouTube, yeah, I was dancing. Y'all enjoy that podcast intro that my husband actually wrote for me? Thank you. Shout out to Daryl. Thank you. So, with that said, we're continuing in a four-part series. This is part two. This is in alignment with our welcome episode for this season, where I'm giving you the ingredients to create your action plan, your ambitious action plan. So, I'm not talking about something nice and easy and neat. I'm talking big, hairy, and audacious. Don't know what I'm talking about? Go watch the first episode of the season and then watch last week and first in this series. The reason I'm saying that is because I need you to know that if you have something rumbling inside you that you're dying to do, but you think to yourself, "Oh, I can't do that," or "How dare I want that," or you're already successful and you think to yourself, "How dare I want more?" I need you to understand we don't settle. The meaningful work community, we don't settle. So if you're somebody that's average or you're okay with mediocre, I need you to no longer listen to this podcast because I'm allergic to average. You're not about to make me itch. So some of y'all get that later. I know I'm silly. So we're continuing with this series to stretch you, to be ambitious, to go after the next level of you. We're at pillar two. Now, listen, the reason I even wrote these as pillars, let me say this to you. If you have a table and you don't have four legs, will that table stand? So, all four of these legs, whether you do them all consecutively, sometime in your professional journey, you will experience all four of these legs. So I'm giving you the four legs that you will use on your ambitious journey. So the first leg is to get a promotion. Some of you guys are there now. Some of you have been there. Some of you will be there in the future. So don't take that first episode for granted. We're now at pillar number two, which is to make a career transition. Now, I talked about this in last week's episode. Internal growth or an external move. Internal growth is a promotion. If what you need is an external move, then it's time for you to make a career transition. See, when your career is no longer big enough for your gift, or maybe you are burnt out, tired, maybe you dread waking up in the morning, any of those things. Well, I'm about to walk you through those things. So let me walk you through because I'm sharing some of my notes already. Let me share with you the four signs that it's time for a career change versus a promotion. Okay. So number one, I said this already, you're not growing anymore. You've outgrown your job. You remember when you were little, or maybe you have kids, when they outgrow their shoes, you used to try to shove their feet in those shoes. And some of you guys are shoving yourself into a role that no longer fits. So if you feel like you're just on repeat mode, that you just go in and you're doing the same old thing and it just doesn't fit you anymore, it's time to grow. It's time to make a change. Let me out myself here. This is where I was at the end of 2024. Talked about this at the last season, so I'm not going to talk about this long. But what I didn't realize is at the end of 2024, I no longer fit my role in my business. I had outgrown it. That season was over. And I kept trying to just spin it differently and do little different things. And no, it was over. Do you know God had to sit me down in the middle of a surgery? And those of you that know me, I have surgery on Monday. I'm back to work on Tuesday because that's, because I love what I do. But that time I took the full week off because I was burnt out, tired, overwhelmed. But what I know now is that job no longer fit me. A company that I started just no longer fit. Jamal Bryant talked about this. I shared this in our first episode, that he was successful and yet depressed. He felt unfulfilled because that role didn't fit him anymore. Didn't mean he wasn't meant to be a pastor. He just wasn't meant to pastor at that church. Are y'all getting that? Number two, you feel drained before the day even starts. You know how you have the Monday morning blues, like, oh, I don't want to go to work. Or you just feel like, oh my God, you're looking forward to 5 p.m. and it's 9 a.m. or anything in between. It just means you're burnt out. And burning out sometimes doesn't come from working too hard. Sometimes it comes from working in the wrong environment or in the wrong role or with the wrong leadership, and go on and on. Okay. Number three, you are constantly thinking about what else is out there. Like maybe you dream of starting your own business and you're working a 9 to 5, or maybe dream of writing a book. Those are two career transitions. I'm gonna give you tools to work through those in a second. But if you're constantly thinking about what else is out there, maybe you dream of a whole different role doing a whole different thing. Whatever that is, it means it's time for career change. Here's the last one. You don't enjoy what you do anymore. You just don't enjoy it. Period. Now that could be similar to the Monday morning blues, but here's the thing. Sometimes the blues are from hating the environment. You might love what you do, but hate where you work. It just means it's a career change. Okay. So I want you to get that where you are is, well, first of all, I said we don't settle, but I'm going to give you the tools to make the career moves you need to make. But first, again, from last week's episode, I want you to be clear. Is it a promotion? Because sometimes you're bored because you've outgrown that role and it's time for a promotion and it's just a lateral move. But if you're bored altogether with the industry and all the things you're doing, like I'm going to be honest with you, I was tired of coaching, good at it, over it. So I didn't need to go find another coaching position. I didn't. I'm now the director of a division that oversees coaches. Perfect for me because I've had the experience and now I can pour into the next generation and set up infrastructure and programs. But these are the things I had to do to get clear, y'all. Okay. So grab your pen, y'all already know. And if, again, I always say this, if you are watching on some, one of my audio channels, which is great, listening rather, I should say, come on over to my YouTube channel because I do slides when I'm here by myself. I'm always going to teach you. I'm always going to do slides. Why? Because what's the point of listening to something if you don't implement anything? What's the point? You get 30 minutes of your time back. I'm always committed to be here for 30 minutes. So YouTube is nrjnetwork.com. NRJ as in Nicole Roberts Jones, nrjnetwork.com. Come on over. All right. So with that, let's start talking the 5 tips you need. 5 steps, I should say, you need to make the career move that you greatly desire to make. And I'm going to walk you through how to do these moves. So you're going to need a pen because I didn't write all of this stuff on slides. Okay. I don't know what it is about allergies this season. Usually I don't get winter allergies. I usually get fall and spring allergies. But for some reason in the winter this year, my allergies are acting up. So please forgive me every time I cough. Okay. So move number 1 is define the move. So what move is it that you want to make? Is it that you want to write a book? Is it that you want to start a business? Is it that you want to just shift into a new role in a whole different industry? You got to be clear. The difference between a promotion and a career transition is promotion is a lateral or is a not lateral because lateral is this way, but it's a vertical move up in the same arena you're in. If you're trying to move out, that's a career transition. So let's talk about a couple things. If you want to write a book, well, let me not go too far into that. I'm gonna start going into another step. So number 1, what is it that you want to do? I'm gonna walk you through steps to do them. Promise you that. But can I tell you, if you want to write a book or start a business, I'm always going to suggest you do that alongside your 9 to 5. I'm going to tell you why in a minute as we talk to you from step number 2. Step number 2 is called show me the money. And when I was writing out these steps, it made me think of that scene from Jerry Maguire. Y'all remember that? Show me the money, right? The reason I wrote this here is because so many people just jump out. I'm going to jump out on faith. I'm going to start my business. And I bet you God is up there saying, don't blame that on me. I've never said I have stupid faith. So you have to have strategic faith. So to start the strategy, you've got to figure out if you're going to leave your job or even look for a new job or a new role, how much money do you need to make a year to pay for your life? So listen, you already have a mortgage, you've got bills to pay, you got maybe school tuition for your kids, you've got all the things. How much is that? Let's say you need $150,000 at minimum a year to live. What can I tell you? When you start a business, when you first start generating money in a business, That 150,000 you might generate the first year in your business, you have to put back into your business. So you can't say, "Oh, I can pay myself." No. So I say you need to at least be making 300,000 at minimum in your business before you can quit. So that's why I want you to really start to think about how much money do you need to generate to live, even as you look for a new position. It's not about how much money I want to make. That's great too if you want cushion. I get that. But what's the minimum? Even as you write a book, you've got to put together a budget because you could either, most of you will self publish. Those of you that have names that are big enough. So let me tell you my book writing story real quick. So, number one, when I wrote my first book, I thought I was going to self publish it, which means I spent thousands of dollars and I did self publish it at first. But unbeknownst to me, my editor at the time was my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law was a retired, she was a retired director of African American studies at a college. And I thought, well, she's not doing anything. And her PhD was in women's history. I was like, perfect. So she was my editor. What I didn't know, she had sent my book to a publisher. So I got an offer from a publisher to publish my book, but it didn't come with an advance. But I was happy because I said, okay, great. All the other marketing expenses I was going to pay after I had already self-published, I won't have to pay now. So I want you to consider, if you're going to self-publish, you've got to pay for the publishing. Who's going to publish your book? And you don't want to do it cheesy. You want to do it the right way. You've got to have a marketing plan. You have to spend money for that. All of these things need to be budgeted along with how much you make a year. So even if you look at the expendable cash you have right now, how much can you invest in your business to start your business? And how much can you invest to develop your book? And then begin to save that, whether it's monthly, whatever, so you can begin to, we're going to create strategies the next step. But I really want you to take some time to show yourself the money you will need to make to do the thing. To write the book, to start the business, to do that thing that you greatly desire. Even if it's to shift industries, you might need to study that industry to see what the rate of pay is. Your industry might pay different than the other industry. So if I use myself for an example, I've been having a training and development company for 30 years. Prior to this, I have been an adjunct professor. Being an adjunct professor and a director of a whole division, two totally different things. I had to research. So you really want to start to look at what's your bottom line that you have to make to do this thing? That's what I mean by show me the money. Step number 3 is now you want to create strategy. Okay. So part of your strategy. Okay. So let's talk about a couple things. Number 1, if you want to write a book, when are you going to write it? What's your book going to be about? What's your launch plan? How are you going to market your book? You want to begin to create strategy. So again, if I use myself for an example, my first book was written to young women. So what I did was I went to Alpha Kappa Alpha. That's a sorority that I'm in. I went to undergrad chapters. I went to some grad chapters, but mostly undergrad chapters, and did book events because it was written for young women. I had to contact each chapter. That meant I also had to pay for myself to fly and all the things. I sold books while I was there, but I'm going to tell you guys, those of you that think you're going to be big baller shot caller from writing a book, yeah, not happening. That doesn't happen till you get to a 6-figure book deal up front, and you will not get a six-figure book deal unless you have some big corporate role and you can show the publisher that you have a platform big enough that will sell the books. Y'all getting that? So you want to create your strategy around your book. Those of you that want to start a business alongside your 9-to-5, I wrote a book called Bankroll Your Brilliance. So for years, I taught entrepreneurs how to start a business alongside their 9-to-5. I forgot to write this out, so hold on, I'm writing it. So Bankroll Your Brilliance book.com, and I'll put this in the show notes as well. Who knows if I'm spelling this right? Those of you that are going to see this on the screen. So in that, I walk through how to get clear on what is your brilliance and how do you begin to allow it to generate revenue. I spelled Bankroll Your Brilliance wrong, but y'all get it. BankrollYourBrainsBook.com. Again, I'll show it in the show notes. So if you're wanting to start a business alongside your 9 to 5 based on your intellectual property, that book is for you. Your brilliance is your intellectual property. So any kind of consulting, any kind of expert-based business, Bankroll Your Brains book is going to help you. But a couple things out of the bat. Number one, you have to look at what products are you going to sell? Is it consulting only? Are you going to do any one-on-one? Are you going to have online programs? Well, I should have said this first. What arena are you going to start your business around? And then you want to do a whole market research to see what's happening in your marketplace so you can find out what's not being done so you can separate yourself. I talk about this all in the book, by the way. Second thing I said that you want to look at how you're going to serve your clients. But then what people don't talk about is how you're going to sell it. Just because you build it doesn't mean that people are going to automatically buy it. They aren't. So how are you going to sell it? Talk about that in the book too. And then marketing. Nobody's going to buy it if they don't know it exists. So you've got to get in front of people. These are all things you've got to do and really strategize. And how do you do it alongside your 9 to 5? Does that mean you spend your Saturdays at book events? Do you do workshops on the weekends? I could go on and on. You've got to create strategy. Okay. So your exit plan would include the budget you've made and how much you need to make a year. At minimum, how much salary you need to make, but then you want to double that in your business. Okay. Your exit plan, if you're looking for another job, is to start interviewing alongside your 9 to 5. Listen, it's easier to get a job when you have a job. Don't quit. I know your boss might be driving you crazy. Hang on tight. Some of you that unfortunately got rift in the climate you're in, I'm sorry. You can start a business while you're waiting for your job. There's always consultant gigs available. There's always corporations that are looking for consultants to come in and do quick work. You might end up doing a consulting job and love it. Just saying. So you really want to think of your exit strategy. Update your resume and update your LinkedIn. If you have a book, you definitely want to put that on your LinkedIn. But if you're looking for a job, put it on LinkedIn, y'all. Don't job search in a silo. And then last thing you want to do is consider timing. Let's say your kids are getting ready to graduate from high school. Is this the time for you to write your book? Is this the time for you to start your business? And I'm saying that because you've got to devote time to all the things that need to be done while you're also helping your child get ready for college. May not be the time. Might need to wait till they start college and then do it. So be really truthful with yourself. And when you start to create your strategy, start to think about all the things that you have on your plate and all the things that need to be moved around to make this possible. Okay. Now, in addition to all of that, step number 4 is define the support you need. Define the support you need. Can I tell you one of my biggest supporters when I wrote my first book? Number one, you heard me just say my mother-in-law was my editor. But then when I finished the drafts and I was getting to the end, do you know who was my first book reader? My stepson. Now, mind you, my first book, which is actually sitting right here, and my hair is straight. Define Your Own Way. That's my first book. I don't know why I don't have my other book in here. But anyway, Define Your Own Way just so happens to be here. My stepson was the editor, and it says empowering young African-American women. So he said, well, why is this only for women? Because this helped me. And I think he was a freshman at Howard, a first year student at Howard University at the time, right? Gave me great feedback. So what support do you need? Maybe do you need your mate, one of your girlfriends, your mother, whoever, to watch the kids while you work on your book or work on your exit or work on whatever interviewing. Really think about what support do you need? How can you utilize your network? A lot of my book events throughout the country were my girlfriends holding book events for me. I stayed at their house. They invited their friends over. That's how I began to spread. Many of you started following me because somebody invited you to their house from one of my book events back in, when did this book come out? 2005, maybe somewhere around there, 2006, something like that. So I really want you to think about, actually it was before then. Anyway, let me not start going through all of that. I really want you to think about what support do you need to make it happen. You don't have to do this alone. You might even have a book launch team, those of you that are going to write a book. And those people be people that edit your book, they help you spread the word. I remember my second book, which is not here, which was called Find Your Fierce, but then I rewrote it and it's now called Bankroll Your Brilliance. So those of you that got Find Your Fierce, updated edition is now called Bankroll Your Brilliance because I updated and put more business strategy in it. I did a Find Your Fierce tour. Relying on contacts. I did it for 2 or 3 years. But again, it's looking at support you have, people you know, people that are behind you, people that can really help you move your dream. Listen, even as you're looking for a new job, new gig, who in your network already is working in that industry or working for a company you greatly desire? It's really putting it out there, y'all. So getting clear on what support do you need to make the career transition that you want to make. Sometimes, listen, I remember when I worked in entertainment. That was my undergraduate degree. I started working with teenage girls in my church, loved it, wanted to get a job doing this thing. And I was like, every job description I looked at that was similar to what I was doing with my girls. Well, I needed an MSW. What is that? What is an MSW? It wasn't until I got a job interview and the woman had a plaque on her wall and it said Masters of Social Work. I'm like, oh, that's what MSW is. So then I started calling my network, asking them, what do you know about MSW degrees? You know, my friends that are either psychiatrists, psychologists, counselors of some kind. And really, I started doing research to find out if I wanted to be a marriage and family therapist, which obviously I didn't because I'm not a therapist. Do I want to be a social worker, which I'm glad I did because I actually ended up being a macro social worker. I realized that what I was doing. But the more I talk to people, that's the support. So listen, if you're doing something you've never done before, you've got to tease out it with someone that's already doing it, especially if they're already in your tribe. All right. So real quick review. Define the move. What move are you looking to make? Show me the money. Create the budget. So you know how much you have to make. And those of you that want to do things like write a book or start a business, and how much you will spend or can spend to start the business, to write the book, right? So show me the money is my way of saying write the budget. Third is create the strategy. So now that you know how much you need to spend, here are all the things you're going to do. And you can listen, you don't have to do these in this order. You can write the strategy first and then write the budget. Then look at what support do you need? Who do you already have in your network that can support what you are doing? Okay. So that you pull together a team to support you in your transition. And then last but not least, as you do all the things that you will do, I want you to celebrate yourself. Every time you reach a milestone, celebrate yourself. Why? Because listen, transition is not always easy. And we get so focused on what's next, and you finish one milestone and you're moving on to the next, that you don't stop long enough to recognize yourself that you did it. So here's another goal for me. Y'all know I've been talking about health. Last year I talked about it. This year I talked about it too. So last year I was 20 some odd pounds overweight. Now I'm only 10. By the end of this year, it'd be 10, right? But I would celebrate myself. I'd go take myself to dinner. I'd buy myself a little, like I just bought myself a little brooch because I just lost a little more weight. I celebrate myself. I just tell myself no more clothes till I lose the last 10. So that's going to be my celebration at my last 10. Who want to go shopping with me? But anyway, I want you to celebrate yourself because we are often so focused on what we did not do that we don't take time to celebrate what we did do. And I'm going to tell you that momentum from you celebrating what you've done will create the momentum you need to get it done, the rest of it done. So whether it's go out with your girlfriends and say, I'm having a milestone brunch, whatever it is, celebrate yourself. Don't wait for other people to celebrate you. You celebrate you. So I talked about this in the last episode. I'm going to say it again. I want you to make your action plan objectives from these conversations. Again, are you looking for a promotion, or are you pillar 1 or pillar 2? Are you here with me making a career transition? Make a plan. Start to look at the resources you have, the impact you want to make, the priorities you need to set, all the things you can get to what you greatly desire for this year. Now, listen. As you're listening to this episode, you may not be at pillar 1 or 2, and that's fine. You might be at 3 and 4, and that's great too. But I don't want you to take this insight for granted because at some point, listen, At the end of 2024, I never would have thought that I was going to end my business. Never. Never loved it up until I didn't. But because I'm always reading and growing and meeting people and asking questions, and then I started doing the work at the end of last year when God started to shift me into more career development space. Mind you, I've been doing career development for 20 years, never called it that. So I want you to get clear, because whether you're doing it now or whether you may be doing it 6 months from now, I want you to always be looking at where can you grow, where can you learn, where can you heighten your strengths, and where can you begin to grow in the areas that are your weakest. All right. So as I always will do, I'm going to ask you, y'all know what I'm going to ask you. Number one, I want to hear your takeaways. What are you committed to this year? Are you looking for promotion? Are you transitioning in your career? Are you in that transition? Are you writing a book? Are you starting a business? And by the way, don't quit to do either one. Do them alongside your 9 to 5, right? I call you an alongsider because you can do both. It doesn't have to be or, it can be and. Like I'm still doing my podcast and I have a 9 to 5. And I was committed. The one thing I'm going to continue in my business is my podcast, because that's what I felt God leading me to do. And here I am with all of you still season number 2, right? So I want to hear from you. Share below your takeaways, how you're going to honor what's next for you. What's that big, hairy, audacious goal that you haven't said out loud yet? Maybe you haven't even written down yet because you're scared of it. I want to know. Write it in the comments. Number 2, share. You never know who will be blessed by this conversation. So with that said, it's always my honor, my privilege to pour into you. Got more, y'all. This is only pillar number 2. So I'll see you next time for pillar number 3. Bye, y'all.